Good afternoon, BSU. I have awoken from my sleeping slumber. As many of you know, I posted that I had a headache for 14 months, and I wasn't going to tell you. I simply thought that I would just keep it a secret from you until I fell asleep for a whole entire week, and 4 of you emailed me with pretty important questions, and Heather was away, so she could not answer, and I did not answer. So I thought to respond to 4 of you, and then I thought, you know what, this ties all the way back into Semler. And we learned that he got very sick and very ill, and he actually addressed his company. So I thought, why not play out the rest of the emulation? This is real life. I am sick. But I want to tell you a couple of things on what I've done about this. Just so you know why I fall asleep and what has gone on. Neurologists do certain things to people when they don't know what's going on and what affects them. And I'm going to teach you how this affects you in this class. So just to give you a general lineup, this is about 50% of the drugs that they've tried on me in the last 14 months. This one right here is for dementia and Alzheimer's. Again, I have a headache. This one right here is for some kind of limb-leg syndrome. This one right here is for seizures and epilepsy. This one right here is for nerve pain. This little one's the one that did the damage, where I increased it by 25 milligrams every single day for X amount of days, and that put me pretty much into a coma. So, and that's no good either. And this one right here for nerve pain, and taking it every 3.5 hours so I don't have the headache, so I can actually teach. Why am I telling you all this? A couple of reasons. Well, we all get sick, and typically we hide it. As you well know, my professional career is to get in front of people on stages and talk about career happiness and how people inside large organizations can do better in their careers. Sometimes it's really hard for me to get on stage and talk about being happy when they're chemically overdosing me with all of these drugs because they don't know what to do with me. So much like the medical doctors, when they don't know what to do with a person, the same thing occurs in this class, where we don't know really how you learn and what you do best at. So that's why we had you take the Strength Finders test. Read Maverick, which covers all of these bizarre concepts, the world's most unusual workplace. We ended up making the world's most unusual classroom place. And that's what we're trying to emulate still to this day. You read the Valve New Employee Handbook, which actually told us a lot about some new companies that are operating really well with complete and utter chaos and confusion. Basically hiring somebody and saying, you go figure out what you do best, and you do it really well. And again, that's what we've been doing in this whole entire class. When I asked if you wanted me to resign as the CEO, I was pulling off straight out of Semler's book. I don't need to resign as the CEO. As you can see, I'm bright and alert, and I'm taking classes at Harvard, and you're taking classes underneath my CEOship, and I'm still running a company. But some days are just worse than others, just like everybody else in here. In fact, I got some brilliant emails from many of you that actually touched my heart quite a bit. Some of you have had much more difficult problems than I have had, and had to conceal the fact that you were sick as well. But I don't think that we should actually do that, to tell you the truth. Sometimes we need to tell people when we're sick so we can go out and get that help. What I want you to do, I didn't mean that I was walking from the class permanently. I will still be your CEO. But I was asking if you thought that I was not giving you enough. So if you wanted somebody to come in and back in, even though we have a board of directors, and we have Heather as a TA, we have far more teachers in this class than probably most of your classes. But I was going to give you the ability or the option, which I did, to have somebody else come over and override me, which would have given you a different style of leadership, but it would have probably changed quite a bit. And when you see that happen in most executive situations, it really does cause a lot of havoc. But if you would have wanted to do that, we would have done that. But you didn't. Most of your emails indicated quite the otherwise, and everything in Blackwood that has been posted has said no. And we have 3 more weeks, so there's not that much confusion, and I'm really not walking from anything, especially since I'm alert and I'm not taking any more of these things. I don't know what else to do, but I can't do that. I can't sleep for the rest of my life. So what we're going to do, there's only 3 weeks. So the one critical thing that we have to deal with is this Indiegogo campaign. Everything else remains the same. The finals week is still when you evaluate every single person on your team to make sure that we are grading properly, because you are grading yourself each week, and then your team members are going to be grading you. And back to Maverick, And basically they were giving themselves their own pay raises. They were hiring and firing each other, just like you are in this class. You have smaller teams now, and so you can really focus in on accountability. And that's what we're looking for in that last week, is that you're going to grade yourself and you're going to grade your team members to make sure that everybody is being held accountable in this last portion of the game. That all remains the same. The only thing that I was asking for help on, which I did not state, is the Indiegogo campaign, the one that you're posting tonight. So I want to give you a couple of options. You're going to have 3 options on this. 1, we move forward with the Indiegogo campaign as we completely put in the classroom. If we do that, I'm going to need all the teams to help build the Indiegogo campaign out. That is a 20-hour process to basically monitor the campaign, get it up there, get everything in writing. So we need to have the teams collectively build the Indiegogo campaign. My question to you is, do you think that we're ready to launch the Indiegogo campaign? This is up to you. This is where I'm putting it back into your hands. This is your class, and this is what you're building. This concept has been built all by BSU students. It's built for BSU students, and it's built to have BSU students launch a concept nationwide to compete at a leadership and management level with other universities, so we can teach these skills to other people and perhaps make it a game concept so you can actually make some money in the process while you do it. This game will be handed off to Boise State University students. If you think it's ready to go, we will go. We will launch. So when your teams submit these forms or these clips tonight that you put together, I want you to tell me what you think your team wants to do. A, do you want to launch it? B, do you want to launch it in a completely different fashion where we put it up and we ask the community in Indiegogo if they think that it's worthwhile? So we just pulled the donations down to perhaps $1 and say, what team would you support? Because the one critical thing on this is, if we launch the Indiegogo campaign as sits, and we're going to put a $5,000 mark on it, if we make that $5,000 mark, then it must move forward, or we must return the funds to every single person that donated on this campaign. So I want you to think very clearly about this. This is your decision as the company people. What do we do? So do we launch it and really push forward to make money so you guys can have a company, or do we hold back and launch something on Indiegogo and say, what do you think, community? You know, hundreds of thousands of people are going to look at it. Could you donate $1? And what team would you put this for? What university would you back? And then basically tell them that all these funds are going to you just because you put so much work into this. Or your third option is not to launch anything on Indiegogo at all. At least you've learned the process of what we're going to do. You've learned how to build this from scratch. You've been on multiple teams. You've worked in chaos. You've gotten the whole entire concept, or about 90% of you have. The other 10% of you are still scrambling. And this, again, this type of leadership and management is not for everybody, and that's why we don't have 100% managers in our organization. Some people cannot do this, and that's completely fine. But a lot of you are grasping that. Some of you are still confused. That's okay. We're still learning on where would you be best fit in an organization. So if we do not launch it, what I would ask each team to do is write down a 5 to 6 page summary of how this whole entire process that we've gone through has helped in leadership skills, in team building, in innovation, in creativity, in management skills. The basic core values that I listed, that I posted into the assignments group, that said these are our critical components that we're covering in a very bizarre way versus multiple choice tests and essays. That's why I offered you all independent studies before we move forward with this, because some of you just cannot do this. And some of you probably should have done independent studies, but it's too late now, we have to move forward. So if you take the third option, that we do not launch the Indiegogo campaign, then we hold back on the whole entire concept, and we just call this a very good research scope. And at some point, maybe we dig it out and we contact the right people when it's ready to launch and when it's ready to go. Your fourth option is to come up with a new option. So let us know on that. When you post these clips that you've been putting together, these commercials, we're still going to judge them. There's still going to be a winner, and there's still going to be points. But it's going to be up to you, up to this class, up to this company that we've created on what we're going to do with this Indiegogo campaign. So let me know out of the 4 options what you want to do. A, we run on track. B, we slightly tweak it so we just ask the general public if it's something worthy. C, we are looking at not posting it at all, and you're writing just a team paper on what the challenges were and what you learned from it and what you did not learn from it. Or lastly, whatever your solution is. So give us those options. There's 6 teams. We'll look at it. We'll figure out which ones we're going to move forward with. But regardless, we're moving forward with every single thing else in this class. We're launching a new game, or basically it's taking the same game, 6 new teams. They're smaller teams, so the points are going to ramp up, and there will be winning teams. There's just not going to be cash prizes with it if we don't attach it to the Indiegogo campaign. So with that being said, I am alive, I am awake, I am here for you. I'm looking forward to seeing your postings. We'll take a look at that, and I will update you on Monday from the Boston Marathon. I'm excited to show you a little bit of footage from the Boston Marathon. I've personally not been, so it'll be fun for me to air from there. And we will figure out what we're going to do with this Indiegogo campaign. So thank you all for your understanding, and I am now glad that I was able to tell you what I'm going through. And hopefully that will give many of you that are going through a lot of problems in your own life some hope as well. It goes back to Viktor Frankl, our book of In Man's Search of Meaning, where he said there's 3 core values in life. One is finding meaning in pain and suffering. The second is finding the love of your life. And the third is literally finding a career that you love. We've been focusing in on the career that you love, but the reason why I wanted to tell you about why I was sick was A, because I failed 4 of you, and B, I'm going to find that's the only reason that I get up and I'm still happy every day, even though I have a headache 24 hours a day, is that I know that it will be rectified at some point, and I'm going to take that critical learning skill and I'm going to put it into my speeches to tell other people how to deal with chronic pain as they move forward in life. So that's how I'm dealing with this issue, and it's directly from Viktor Frankl. And the way that I addressed you is directly from Ricardo Simler. So I'm trying to take what we're learning in this class and applying it right to you right now. Most people do not want to tell people that they're sick. I did not want to tell you that I'm sick, but here it is. I am. So with that being said, I will see you at the Boston Marathon, and I look forward to your clips being posted. Alrighty. Give me a call if you want to see what your future is in the whatever you call this, something sketch.